about a month ago, they announced Baiken. So I decided to make a video about Baiken and why people don't like Baiken, because competitive GG players don't like Baiken very much. Surprisingly, many people watched that video, and I got a bunch of comments of what the fuck is wrong with you. Everyone likes Baiken. And in that video, I basically just introduced people to Baiken. If they didn't know like stuff about her, why people felt the way they do about Baiken. So the people who played Baiken that I follow, like Nitro Noodles, they popped off. They go, let's fucking go, right? And then the rest of my feed from people who play Tournament Guilty Gear were just like, oh my fucking god, no. Basically, the reaction I would have to Elf Help being added, they had for Baiken, right? Absolute sadness and despair. Here are some lovely comments from why Guilty Gear players strongly dislike Baiken. Side note, a long time ago, I made a video called Why I Strongly Dislike Adult Gohan. You may have seen it, you may have not seen it. But when I put the title, YouTube flagged my video for hate. And I was like, oh shit, we gotta use a different word. So I use strongly dislike in all caps, just so that you know. So here's some comments from why Guilty Gear players strongly dislike Baiken. You know they really don't unliked. What the fuck are you talking about? That title, hey buddy, April Fools is 4 months away. Another known celeb player who doesn't with a Z talk about Baiken's weakness. A 2-hitter stopped her reversal on a stream somewhere. I don't know what a 2-hitter is, by the way. Once you parry, you have to use the weakest reversal or risk getting hit off it. I literally don't understand what the fuck this dude said. I could not understand. Maybe English is not his first language. And because this always happens with this character in whatever franchise, right? I played Baiken since GGXX original, or like I played this character since fucking 1973. You know, there's a ton of that. I will tell you how much dislikes this video got. By the way, the answer is not a lot. 4,290 likes and 213 dislikes. Honestly, I thought it was a good video. And one thing that I think people forgot is that Guilty Gear is a game about selfishness. Guilty Gear is a game about selfishness, right? Everyone loves their character and hates all the other characters. It is pretty easy to find people who dislike every character in this game. Somebody is going to dislike your fucking character. So why not stay on this lane, and instead of attacking a simultaneously popular and polarizing character, because again, Baiken is incredibly popular, but amongst competitive players, the people who play the game the most, probably, and who fly around to compete against each other, they don't fucking like her. To meet people in the middle, the next one I want to do is my own character, Millia. Millia Rage. A character that, for me personally, and this is where I meet the Baiken mains, it is so hard for me to understand how people dislike Millia. It's so hard, but I'm the scientist of fighting games myself. I decided to do the hard work and do some research and dig and figure out why people don't like Millia. I'm gonna talk about the character concept. So she has more shit in this game than Strive, but basically she is always incredibly fast, right? So especially in this game, look how fast she is, right? Fast, her air dash really long, she can go really far like this, right? She's very hard to catch because of this, right? Very extremely mobile, lots of special moves that change how she moves straight up, right? This is one very standout factor of her. On top of this too, a more subtle thing, this is like a more advancing in GG, this also applies to Strive. Her backdash is essentially instant. So by the time you see this, she is already doing stuff. So in this game, to my memory, her backdash is 6 frames invincible, 11 frames total. In Strive, it's 4 frames invincible, 16 frames total. So essentially instant in both games. A lot of people call her like a pixie character, so very fast, hard to catch, but the main other standout thing about her is her win condition, which famously, which I can't do, there you go. Okay, this, essentially. She knocks you down, and she'll apply some pressure on you that is extremely difficult to interact with, or maybe you can't interact with, depending on the character and the game. And she's generally able to loop this in some way. She's like this in Strive as well. Her win condition is knocking you down in Strive. Her win condition is knocking you down in Exert. Her win condition is knocking you down in ACR. Her win condition is knocking you down in AC. Like, that's how she beats you. This type, set play characters, right? So, or Okuzeme characters, characters that knock you down and mix you up until you die. This is probably one of the classic super unfair things in fighting games. A lot of people don't like this type of win condition because essentially The reason why people strongly dislike Millia is between how fast she is, how hard to catch she is, and certain special moves and properties on her moves, and what she does when she hits you, she doesn't let characters play the game they want to play. And it's the main reason why this is gone, frankly, is the main reason why that is gone. Because her toolset at a macro level, once you reach a high skill level with her, it's not even one player game. It's you don't let your opponent do the thing they like to do. Because it's not just about knockdown. Everyone's focused on the knockdown, right? Everyone is focused on, like, let's say, like this into Sad Moon. Let's try one more time. No execution, boys. There you go. Like this into, you know, various types of set play that she has, right? People are really focused on that. But you missed the part about her mobility and how she deals with people's game plan. This is why I picked Venom. Venom, pretty popular character. People like him. People always think he's cool. People always think he's technical, big brain. And if you haven't seen him or don't know what he does, he has a pool cue as a weapon, which is weird until you see him put this ball and you hit the ball with the pool cue, right? So you get to be very creative with this character. You get to come up with setups, all sorts of ways of controlling neutral. He's very much like Zato in that, like, people probably won't use him the same way because they'll approach problems differently with him because of this kind of two-step neutral, as I like to call it. He can play by himself, right? But he can also choose to set this, cover space like that, teleport over here, blah, blah, blah. Now, the issue, and why I wanted to use him as an example, is because generally, Millia beats Venom. Why does Millia beat Venom? A couple of reasons. One is Venom, his main pokes, this 2S and Far Slash, despite them looking quite fast compared to Strive, these are, you can reliably whiff punish these moves. So he likes using these moves, and you can pretty reliably do these. With punish this move, for example. These are very important moves. These moves don't lead in the combos, but he has to use them. This might sound familiar if you heard what I said about Strive Millia and why I think she has problems. Right? You have to use moves that don't necessarily have good return. The upside for him, though, is that he can control large swaths of space like this. But it's 2 steps. He has to put the ball out and then hit it. And because of that, if I see him put the ball out, and I use my projectile, he's fucked. So when I'm floating up here, I could literally just see him and throw it. Easy, 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 easy. And he's in counter hit state the entire time. So what ends up happening is all my stuff leads into knockdown, which is my win condition. When her conversion ability is even better. So in this version, her conversion ability is pretty good. 2.0, her conversion ability is not that great. It varies by version. These types of matches are really tough because even though Millia's conversion ability is also not super consistent, it turns into everything I do doesn't let Venom play the game he wants to play. He doesn't get to set balls. He doesn't get to press S. He doesn't get to do any of that shit. He has to be scared of me running around all the time and my fucking laser beam that leads into knockdown, that leads into death. At all times, and he has no reversal, right? So if you're talking about like ACR, when she knocks him down that version, like, he's fucked. At least in this game, he has like parry and stuff. Most people are focused on the knockdown, and rightfully so, because the knockdown is how she wins, and it loops into itself, right? It's very, very strong. New players hate this, you know. New players hate getting knocked down and getting set played to death because they want to do stuff. This prevents you from doing stuff. But on a higher level, it applies to neutral as well. There's a lot of characters in this game where Millia's neutral against them is very heavily focused on stopping them from doing the thing they want to do, which is really frustrating, right? In this version, versus Faust is like that, versus Venom is like that, versus Axel's like that, versus Zato's like that, versus Ram is like this, versus Mei is like this. There's a lot of matchups where like they just can't really do even like the baseline L round 1, let's run around the screen, like you can't do it to her. When you look at it like that, when you're like, man, like my goal is not even about like the knockdown. Like the knockdown is how you win, but like your whole way of playing matchups is not letting people do what they like to do. Straight up. In Strive, she is much, much more focused on threading the needle. So like your opponent gets to do the shit they like to do. You thread the needle, then you knock them down and run it. Where in this game and previous versions, she has a bunch of shit that doesn't let people do stuff, even in neutral. But this move is unfuckwithable, as a wise man once said. You cannot beat this move. Nothing fucking beats this except for like 6H, which is super high commit. All your shit loses to this, right? You have to either jump over. I use the dash macro because I'm a fucking zoomer, right? This is pretty hard to aim. So now, what you have to do instead is that, right? That's how you target it, because you can't fuck with the move. Similarly to how, you know, in Stride, people be doing this. In Xrd, people be doing this. People be doing this, and people be doing this. And they'll call it player expression, right? You know how I express myself? That's how. I generally think people aren't good at articulating how they feel about stuff. Any questions?